The RCF ART series has lineage that goes back with the original ART-910. It has evolved so much over the years. Every single evolution of it has been great. This is the ART-910. The 9 series is the new evolution in RCF ART. We're going to talk about it. We're going to do a stress test. I'm excited. I hope you are, because we're going to do it right now. What's going on, everybody? Justin Schwartz here, coming at you from our new studio here in the local area, supporting local business. And everyone wants to see stuff in real life situations. So I'm going to keep coming at you from real life situations when we do these tests and try to give you the best possible review in the best possible situation where you're working, right? So today we're talking about the ART-910 from RCF. I was very lucky to have gotten a pair of these in August. I've been using them for multiple gigs, and I have so much feedback to give you on these. But before we do that, make sure you're checking us out at the DJsGuru.com and at DJEventGear.com, where we have everything up for sale as well. Now, back to ART-910. Now, this is the 910. I love this box. I love it because I use it a lot with my portable column arrays. I have an EVOX12 system, and I use this for sound reinforcement. And I have another one on the side normally that I use for a monitor. Now, what we're going to talk about today is some of the things that it can do, some of the advances that they've made in the 9 series from other versions of it. And then also we're going to do a sound test and a stress test to see if I can even redline these things, because I have not been able to do it so far. So real quick, we're going to get to the specs. 2100 watt peak, 130 SPL. So that sound pressure is super high on a box this small. Very, very impressive. You got a 1.75 inch compression driver. Per phase technology, that is the built-in DSP that RCF has. Real simply, it makes each frequency range get filtered and reach the user or the listener's ears so it sounds crystal clear. And if you have heard RCF before, the word that most people will use is just super clean and ear-pleasing, and that is no different in the 9 series. So another thing that I want to point out that I thought was really cool is something that's brand new to this 9 series here, called bass motion control. What is bass motion control? So what they have done is they have built out a limiting system that doesn't just use a digital number system. So for instance, with old style circuitry and protection systems, if you hit a certain number, it's going to short out. Now, physically, the speaker might be able to handle more. As we know, each song is recorded different. It'll sound different depending on where it is, but the speaker sometimes can handle more than what these digital systems will allow. Bass motion control actually measures the actual movement of the woofer, and it will keep it running until it actually measures movement that will hurt the speaker. So you're going to get the most amount of headroom, you're going to get the most amount of output out of this speaker, and it's going to run more efficiently than maybe what you've experienced in the past because of bass motion control. Talked about it before. People might have heard me talk about it, but really very cool. And I'll tell you, I've used these now for multiple gigs. Inside, I did an outdoor gig where I was doing my daughter's school function. We were outdoors, and I have to tell you, I was so impressed with the way that this thing covered so many people outside. It wasn't a situation where I needed it to be super loud, but the beautiful part was it was loud, and it was clean, and it sounded great. And all I had to do was bring these 2 little speakers with me, and it was fantastic. All right, so I wanted to show you the back here, and we'll get some closer in angles here of this. So one thing that you'll know, and I'll tell you about RCF, and I've said this before, they're big with sound. Clearly, right? They make speakers, but that's their thing. They're not making Swiss Army knives. So you're not going to look at the back of an RCF speaker and see a gazillion inputs, outputs. What they do is they take the money that they're using to manufacture these speakers and they focus it on the speaker. You get one balanced input, you get a full range output. And the cool thing is they have 3 EQ presets now built in. Linear, which is kind of flat. You have a bass boost there. and then you have a stage setting when it's double lit there. What that's going to do is that's going to lower the frequency response of the low end, because when you have a stage monitor and you have that on the floor pointing up, you don't want it to be as bassy, obviously. So you have the ability to really EQ the sound here, and it definitely makes a difference when you put the boost on, which we were just doing a test earlier, and it was pretty incredible. But we're going to hear more in just a bit. So I wanted to show you the back. Standard IEC, you can see here, made in Italy. Gotta love that. And as far as the box, you know, it's an ABS molded box. It has handles here on the side for an ergonomic grip. And the grill now is a full featured grill, full size of the speaker, really nice looking. As you can see, I've used this thing already, but it's definitely, it holds up. It doesn't scratch up. It doesn't look like I've really used it a lot. And I have. So, you know, as far as looks goes, as usual, professional, classy, sexy look here from RCF. So let's definitely go give it a listen now. All right, let's try our first song. Here we go. I'll give a little feedback when we're done. All right, so wanted to turn the music off and kind of give you a vocal description of what I heard. So that was a song that was very bass heavy, had a lot of different frequency ranges in it, and it was extreme, just crystal clear. It was completely balanced. You know, these speakers, I'll tell you, I'm constantly saying you don't need a 15 up top, and these speakers are like proof that you absolutely don't, because the bass was incredible. As far as two speakers up on a pole, I can't imagine a 15 really sounding any better than that, because it was just so balanced and crystal clear for a room that this size. You know, this is a standard ballroom. I mean, these things were insane. So volume was incredible, output, overall balance, the low end, and then just, again, you can tell that fur face technology where everything just hits you at the same time and it just sounds clean. All right, track number 2. I didn't make it as loud this time so we can have a little conversation. And this is more of a hip-hop song, right? Everything sounds exactly the way that it should. Like if I was wearing headphones right now, that's what it sounds like. There's no extra low-end frequency that's annoying. There's no distortion. There's nothing but crystal clear sound, and very impressive. All right, let's do our stress test. So we're gonna do our stress test, and right now I'm on an SZ2 here. We've got our master volume about halfway. Just so you know, on RCF, the nice thing about RCF with the gains, their gain structure is you really want to have these things all the way up, believe it or not. So I've had these things all the way up. That's 0 dB. That's going to actually give you the most efficiency out of this speaker. So this is how we're running it. And I'm going to just see what we can do as far as, and the bass EQ setting is on. So we have extra bass going. Make sure it's the same on here, which it is. And let's see what we can do. See if I can redline these things. Here we go. interesting stress test because before you've seen me do stress test, I'm outside, I'm in a different environment. Now, when you're inside, obviously, you're gonna redline faster because you just have not as much room to go, right? Sound goes forever when you're outside. So it's a lot harder to redline in that situation. So we actually redlined on the first song, which, or at the first setting here, but we had everything all the way up. As you saw, we had the gain all the way up there. Some people don't do it that way. Some people put it at 3 o'clock. RCF will tell you 0 dB all the way up. The sweet spot a lot of times people will say is 3 o'clock, but either way, we just got a tremendous amount of sound out of this thing before it redlined. And even when it was redlining, it didn't sound like distorted, and as you noticed, it didn't shut the speaker off, right? So bass motion control kicked in, still doing its thing, and because the sound is not distorting, it's not going to hurt the speaker. You're just seeing a red, and that just kind of means, you know, turn it down a little bit, you know, you've reached kind of your maximum. So very impressed with the stress test, very impressed overall with the sound, and let's close it out. All right, so that's the ART-910. Don't forget they come in a 12 and a 15. You got also the 3-inch compression driver series 2. We'll be back with more reviews, but I wanted to start off with the 910. The last thing I did want to show you was the top of it, where that's your handle here. So when you're obviously moving with it, this is the way you're going to do it. And then like I showed you before, it has these, you know, ergonomic things here on the side. But the one thing that's beautiful about this speaker, again, is the versatility of it. You know, again, it has the wedge design here now. So you have the ability to run it as a floor monitor, obviously as a standard power speaker as well, you know. So they finally knocked it out of the park with the ART series. I've always liked it. I've never loved it overall for everything in this way. They really, really, I think, are going to take over a lot of people's business nowadays with this series. And it's well deserved because it's a great value. And for what I've heard and so far, how I've used it, very, very impressed. Very impressed. So ART-910, what don't I like about it? Well, you know, I'm always waxing poetic about stuff, but that's not what we do here. We do talk about some of the things that I don't like. You know, the things with RCF that I don't like are generally just the things that we talked about before, as far as the fact that it's not a Swiss Army knife. The fact that, you know, this is a molded box, it's plastic. If you want to get the NX series, that's the wooden version of these. But, you know, I'm not always crazy about that. But I have to tell you, using them, and most of my speakers are wood, but not a huge difference as far as the sound quality. And obviously, when you have a molded box like this, it's a lot lighter. So, you know, there are some major advantages, also keeps the price down. But other than that, you know, this thing is a winner. Great value. Definitely check it out. We'll have some more reviews on it at the DJsGuru.com and also DJEventGear.com. You'll have it listed there. We're very excited about the 9 series. If you have any questions, always reach out to us. Happy to help. And thanks for watching this today. Hope you enjoyed it. As much as we enjoy making it, and I always like to say, see you on the flip side. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.